Hi, everybody. Welcome to the fourth week of the Tiger Professional Development Certificate. Wait, Ava, is this three or four?
This is the 4. 4.
Okay. The fourth week of the Tiger Professional Development Certificate for the summer of 2025. This week's topic is one that is so exciting to all three of us who will be presenting, and we hope that you really like it too. It's called Mapping Out a Life You Love, where we're going to start introducing the concept of life design thinking. And life design thinking just teaches you a framework for planning out your life, not just work, which is really important. That's what we help you do at the Career Center, but also life in general. And this week is sponsored by the Career Innovation Lab. My name is Maggie Erickson. I'm the Assistant Director of Career Development at the Center for Career and Professional Development at Clemson. But I'm also the founder of the Career Innovation Lab, and we'll get to talk about that a little bit more later on. But I have with me today Ava Snee. Ava, will you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm a senior economics major at Clemson, and I am one of Maggie's Career Innovation AI research interns at the Career Innovation Lab.
Thank you. And then we also have Judah Slack with us. Judah, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Judith Slack. I'm also an economics major. I am also interning here at the Career Innovation Lab, and I am a rising senior.
So, and I just want to make a note, we don't only hire economic students. We love hiring economic students. Judah and Ava both happen to be that, but we hire from every college and every major. So if you are interested in interning in the Career Innovation Lab, you can reach out to me via email, mlerick, ERICK, at clemson.edu. We do offer you pick internships in the summer, fall, and spring. So let's get started mapping out a life you love. So, as I said, we're sponsored by the Clemson Career Innovation Lab today. And if you could please take a moment to scan the QR code and enter your Clemson email address. If you are not a Clemson student and you've stumbled upon this presentation, you are welcome to enter another email address. But if you're a Clemson student, please use your Clemson email address. If you do that, you'll receive a copy of this presentation and the resources referenced. So our mission is going to be covered by Ava.
Yeah, so our Career Center mission is engaging students in career development and experimental learning activities that will empower them to successfully pursue their educational and professional goals. And so for us, this also doesn't even just mean in college. It doesn't mean the year, or we also, of course, allow you to come 1 year after as well for all of our services, but it really also means beyond college as well. And in life, we can really help you here. And finally, our commitment to inclusivity. Basically, everyone has a seat at our table. Everyone is welcome here. We welcome everyone. And then our core competencies are going to be those traditionally called soft skills that employers like to see from students. And these go in three main categories: engagement, innovation, and professionalism.
And I often tell students we start every presentation talking about our mission, our commitment to inclusivity, and our core competencies. I tell students, so I'm a retired bank executive and I used to do a lot of hiring. And if people applying for jobs with me had been competent at including their skills listed here, communication, collaboration, leadership, and all the rest on their resume, but also able to talk about these things in their interview answers, you would get a second interview with me every time. The core competencies are based on Clemson University's research with NACE and some other organizations. Basically, we asked employers and grad schools, what do you want our graduates to have in addition to their degree? And this is what they came up with. And these are really, really important. They will set you up to be successful for the rest of your life. But sometimes they're hard to communicate on a resume. You don't know where to start or how to say it. And we offer workshops on that. We have interns like Ava and Judah who can look at your resume and help you think through that. So we really encourage you to consider how to incorporate the core competencies on your resume and then in your interview answers. So, our workshop goals today, we want to welcome you to Life Design. We are just starting to introduce this at Clemson University, and we're really excited to talk about this topic. So, we're going to spend some time thinking about what energizes and drains you, and we're going to highlight what energizes you. And then we're going to help you do some exercises that will help you visualize multiple possible futures. So, why do we need to go through this process? Well, when you align yourself, both your values and your goals and your interests, you can make better decisions. And employers really value authenticity. And so we want to help you articulate who you are, what you believe, what you're passionate about, and align that with the work and the life that you pursue after college. So, thinking about that, we want to think about what drives you. We want you to think about your strengths, your values, and your interests. These are things that motivate you, help you get up out of bed, help you be excited about going to work or school or studying or whatever it is that you're doing. And when you take time to consider these things, they can help you be, like we talked about on the last slide, better aligned so that you can make better decisions. So we want you to think about what drives you strengths, values, and interests.
So, what is life design? Life design is a problem-solving method or way of thinking rooted in design thinking, psychology, and career education. It teaches students to design their lives with intention, especially during major transitions like moving from college to career or exploring new interests. So, it really starts with prototyping your future. So, this means really trying new things, exploring, seeing what you like. It's sometimes hard to know what you like before you've actually done it. I know for me, I didn't know I liked the outdoors or hiking until I actually came to college when I was 18 years old, and now I go on backpacking trips regularly. So, doing something like that can really help you explore and find new interests. And then you actually want to try, you want to reflect. How did this make you feel? Did you like this activity? And then kind of say, okay, how can we make this even better? And then finally, it's going to be aligning your choices with your values, really reflecting on what you value in your life, and then doing these activities and trying new things that align yourself with them. You're going to feel much more in control of your life and balanced.
I think a lot of times when students are thinking about where they're going to go to college and what they're going to major in, they feel this pressure to make big decisions without ever having prototyped what those decisions might feel like. And so, what we're hoping to teach you to do in life design is just what Ava said, try some prototypes. And prototype, if you're not familiar with that word in this context, is just trying something that is low stakes, low cost. So, how do you know if you like to hike? Well, you got to go on a hike. You don't research all about hiking, you actually go on a hike to see if you like it. How do you know you like to play tennis? Well, you call up Judah Slack, who loves playing tennis and instructing, and you try playing tennis, and maybe you'll find that you like it, maybe you don't. You can apply those same concepts to the future work that you might like to do. How do you know that you would like working in career services? Well, come alongside us. Be a UPIC intern. Try it out for a day. Shadow one of us. Prototyping is basically doing things like shadowing and informational interviewing and just trying things out to see if you're going to like them. So, as we move forward, we're going to do an exercise called the dashboard. And the dashboard is asking you to think about, are you thriving, surviving, or struggling in four different categories? So those categories are health, mental, and physical health here, not just physical health. Mental health really matters. Work. For you, that is likely your work right now is being a student, but maybe you're also working a part time job or a full time job. So, are you thriving, surviving, or struggling in health and work? And also love. And love's not just romantic love, whether or not you have a partner, but also the love of friends and family and community. Are you thriving, surviving, or struggling in that? And then play. For many of you, you may be so focused on school that you don't take time for play, and it's really important to do that. So, when you're filling out your dashboard, we're going to ask you to think about health, work, love, and play.
Right. And then here is your energy, I'm sorry, the energy exercise. And so what you really want to think about in your everyday activities is what gives you energy and then what actually drains you and takes away from your energy. So for example, we have laundry on here. We had some of our active listeners say that commute to work drain them, something like that. And really reflecting on what takes away from your energy in your life can really help you see what needs to change and fix and prototype again. So this is a really important exercise, and I really encourage you to take the time to see what everyday activities, how much value they actually give to you every day, and what type of energy. I've actually read something recently where it's not when time management is not actually about time managing your time. It's more about managing your energy levels from what you're able to complete. So I think this is kind of a similar concept to that.
Yeah, and when you're doing this exercise, it's really easy. Just draw a vertical line and a horizontal line. Maybe take a minute on a separate sheet of paper and think about your typical day at school. So, pick a day when you have classes on campus and think about the things that you do in the categories of love, work, health, and play. So, your work is as a Clemson student, that means you get up, maybe you work out, maybe you shower. I hope you shower if you worked out. And then you drive over to campus and then you fight for a parking spot. So start listing all of the things that you do in the day on a sheet of paper and then put them on this energy map and put them above the line if they give you energy, way above the line if they give you lots of energy, below the line if they drain, and way below if they really drain. And as Ava said, this is important because this is going to help you think about how you might combine things to bring energy. So, say, for example, the laundry. I don't mind doing laundry, but I hate folding it. And so, what I do is I combine something I love with something I hate. I let myself listen to a new podcast every time I fold laundry. And I really love listening to podcasts. And so, combining those two can be really powerful. So then laundry would maybe move closer to the line because I'm also listening to a podcast. So that's one way that you can think about using this energy mapping. So let's spend some time reflecting. And Ava, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Yes. So, what do you notice about your energy patterns? What really gives you energy? What takes away? And then also reflect and think about what simple changes can improve your energy flow. So, as Maggie was saying, adding a podcast, adding music, adding some kind of excitement to the activity that you don't like, this is actually called habit stacking, will really help you evaluate what you like in life. And it will make you feel happier on a day to day basis for sure when you have more energy.
So, the other thing that we want you to do is think about reframing a belief that family member or society has told you. So, for example, say when you were a little kid, you loved to play with Legos and you would build all kinds of elaborate structures. Somebody along the way probably said to you, you should be a builder or you should be an architect, right? And so, what I want you to do is take a moment now, maybe hit pause on this recording and write down the shoulds that you received when you were growing up. You should go to med school or law school. You should be an architect because you like building with Legos. Ava and Judah, maybe you guys can share some shoulds that you all received when you were younger.
Yes. I know one from the live version was the belief that artists will never make any money. That's definitely a should. For me, it was also, you should get married, you should um, go to college, things like that. That might not always be true for everyone, just depending on your path. So yeah.
And Judah, how
Yeah,
about you?
pretty much the same thing. Just a couple of shoulds. I guess jobs or career paths my parents wanted for me to go towards. I didn't really feel like that aligned with me at the time. So it was just kind of through one ear and out the other.
Yeah. So when we're talking about reframing, what we do is we take the time to write down all of those shoulds that we've received, and then we evaluate whether or not they line up with our values today or whether they just line up with someone else's values. So when we're asking you to reframe, we're not asking you to reject all of the shoulds you've ever received. We're asking you to move on from the shoulds that no longer work for you or that do not align with who you are today. So, the one that's on the screen, I need to be a scientist like my dad. Maybe you believe that. Maybe nobody even told you that. You just thought that that was what you should do. If that is still in line with your values, keep it. But if it's no longer in line with your values, let's replace it with something that more so is. And that's part of what life design does. It asks you to acknowledge all of these internally held beliefs that or these beliefs that you've internalized from others and evaluate whether or not they work for you. So that's the reframing activity. Now, let's go on to Odyssey plans, Ava.
Yes. So Odyssey plans are essentially 5-year life plans. And so your first plan, and again, each of them are 5 years in different plans. Your plan one is going to be the path that you're currently on. So your plan A, whatever you're doing right now, whatever you're working towards, that would ultimately be your plan one. Your plan two is, let's think all of a sudden you have this job, you have this career, and it goes away. It's all of a sudden not there. This is happening quite a lot with the artificial intelligence revolution. All of that is taking away some jobs. So, what if you didn't have that job? What else could you do? And then plan three is, what if status, money, expectations didn't matter? Now, this isn't like imaginary, you see an alien or something. This is something that could still be possible. But you don't really need to worry about money or expectations. And it's really important to think of this too, because a lot of times there are things in your plan three that you can actually put into your plan one and start doing today, which can ultimately lead to a happier life.
One of the things or struggles or objections that we hear from students when we first introduce Odyssey plans is, I can't even figure out 2 years from now, and you want me to do 5 years 3 times. How am I ever going to do this? And so, one of the suggestions I want to make is go to your favorite place and have your favorite coffee or tea or snack or whatever, and just have fun with this. This is not meant to be oppressive or difficult. What you're writing on paper is not written in stone. This is teaching your brain to be adaptable. There is neuroscience behind making 3 plans versus one and going out 5 years. And if you're willing to just lean into this exercise, we think that you'll find great value in it.
Right. So let's just go through the setup. So the breakdown is step one, each column represents 1 year in your 5-year plan. You can either do this by school year or you could do it starting in January, kind of whatever you're kind of thinking. I know I personally think in school years, so kind of however you think of years, and then reflect on all aspects of your life. So that's going to be health, work, love, play, and try to incorporate all of these things into your 5-year plan. This is not just a career plan, this is a life plan. And then finally, you want to use pictures and illustrations, not just words. This can get your vision to kind of be concrete in your mind whenever you're putting it into pictures. And then I also think it's more fun.
Yeah. And then you'll see that there are areas below. It asks you to make a 6-word title. And so you'll see actually this one, A Meaningful and Happy Life, is actually only 5 words. And I just noticed that, but that's okay too. And then questions this plan addresses. As you start putting these things down on paper, it's going to start clarifying your vision for what your life could look like. But there will also still be some questions because I don't even know what 5 years down the road looks like for me. I have a plan, but I don't know that that plan will happen. So add any questions that this plan is addressing or still needs to address. And then be sure to fill out the 4 sections at the bottom left. called resources. I like it confidence and coherence. Resources, this is, do you have the time, money, energy, skills to get it done? Rank it from 0 to 100. I like it is, do you like, love, or don't really like the plan? Confidence, how confident are you that this plan could actually come to fruition? And coherence. Coherence just means, does this align with your values, your skills, your abilities? Does this feel like you? And I would expect that on each of these plans, those gauges will all be a little bit different. But this just gives you another chance to check in and say, does this reflect who I am today? And then the last thing that I skipped was create a 6-word title to finish it off. 5 or 6 words. I don't think there's any special sauce in 6 words, but that's what Stanford teaches in life design, which is where this originated. All right, so I want to take a moment to introduce Judah. Again, Judah, thanks for being here. All of our interns in the Career Innovation Lab get to go through this process of Odyssey planning. And this is Judah's Path 1. Judah, will you go through it a little bit with us?
Absolutely. So I do want to preface this by saying I had written it out. I'm a very text heavy person. So kind of drawing things out took a little more time for me because I really wanted to make it stick out for me mentally. But in my year one, I am learning to prototype as we are all doing right now. Just taking a step back, trying some things out, seeing if it works, and then tweaking what doesn't. Networking at Clemson University, the networking circle is much larger than where I transferred from, Greenville Technical College. I completed my associate's degree there and decided to continue my education. So utilizing Clemson University to network and expand my knowledge is going to be really helpful going forward. And then I'm not the most extroverted person, but I need to start networking with like-minded people and then grow from there. Obviously, having discussions with people with different opinions is great. So this is all taking me back to the drawing board with this prototyping. So I'm just kind of searching in year one and moving into year two, searching and seeing if this works for me or, I mean, does it work on me? You know, is it actually helping me change? And I want to be more active. I'm a pretty active person. I like to play music. I like to play tennis. I like to ride one wheels. So I'm going to be using my year two to prepare for my future, obviously continuing to network. And then in year three, I want to continue my learning. Hopefully, I graduate in 2026 in December, but May or spring of 27 is okay too. So the whole goal is to continue my learning during that time, get my SHRM certification, study for that. And I said keep shredding because I like to ride one wheels. And moving into year four, obviously, I really want to take that time to search for a good employer. I'll be doing that in year three, but in year four, hopefully, it gets executed. And I want to start with a small company. I think it's great to start with something small and just kind of grow in your knowledge and expertise. And I want to read data, HR data, economic data, all that stuff is exciting to me. So in year four, no saying no to any sort of extra job that my employer will give me or ask of me, just because I want to grow in expertise, but I also want to make money. So, and in year five, I will be heavily investing and saving, but I do want to also mention I will be doing that from year one through year four. But in year five, hopefully my income will be at the point to where I can increase the percentage in my portfolios. And I want to think more outside the box. I want to continue to prototype, see if everything is working for me and tweak what doesn't. I will always stay active as long as I can move my body. And I want to also see if I can increase my rankings in a position. I want to take a generalist position. Starting out in HR, usually you start as an assistant and then you kind of grow from there. So in year five, I hope to be in a generalist position. And I will also be building my work portfolio during that time. My 6-word title, unfortunately, when I put this into AI, it actually copied the 6-word title. But for my career path, HR, My title was The Fire Under My Butt. So this has kind of pushed me to really choose something to go after instead of, taking my time and changing classes, changing majors, and all that good stuff. And then the resources, I do feel like Clemson University provides plenty of resources, but also the connections that I made from my previous academic institution. And do I like it? Yes, I have interned at Daedalus Industrial in Easley as an HR intern. So I did say that I like it, or I did like it, and I do like it. And I feel pretty confident with so far with everything that this path can come to fruition.
So, Judah, would you mind talking a little bit about what it was like when you first sat down to do this exercise?
Yeah. So when I first sat down and did it, I thought it was going to be easy because I knew what I wanted to do in my head. I've had this plan for quite some time, and I didn't want to deviate from that. So sitting down and actually writing it out, it actually got harder over time just because it's like, well, I know what I want to do, so just write it. And just writing it out, I started to write things out and I go, well, I don't know if that actually works. I don't know if I'm being realistic. So I won't say it was the hardest thing in the world, but when you're trying to confront stuff that or plans that you've had, you don't really want to second guess your plans. So it was kind of hard doing that. But writing it out, it was fantastic. As something that I will continue doing from here on out. But I will say it was not the easiest thing at first, or at least as easy as I expected it to be.
I'll echo that too, and I'm sure in a minute when Ava shares hers, she'll share some feedback about that. But I took this life design thinking course 2 years ago over the summer as part of my professional development from Stanford University. And when it came to this exercise, I really didn't want to do it. It was like this. I'm fine with doing plan one because I think that's what I'm going to do. But plan two and three, I was like, no, thank you. I don't really want to
Yeah.
think in those terms. But um, they encouraged us to just do it, just try it. And all of the sudden, when I got it done and then I shared it with other people in my cohort, I started to get really excited and moving things from plan three over to my plan one because I realized I don't have to wait until I have all the money in the world and don't care about what anybody thinks. I can actually take some of these things from plan one and incorporate, or plan three, and incorporate them in my plan one life. And that was a lot of fun to realize. But once I got over the resistance, it was fun to do it. But I also had the pressure of being in a cohort. So, all right, Ava, let's hear from you.
Yes, so mine was clearly not made by ChatGPT. When this is probably like my third time or so actually filling out these. This one I had created probably in the last couple months, 1 or 2 months. When I originally had done this last year, this was very difficult for me. It took me a couple months to even push myself to actually do the assignment because again, I didn't have that cohort accountability. But I was really glad once I did it, and it has been super helpful. Now it's way easier to do, and I've also taken the time to take some things from plan three and start doing them now. And it's definitely helped me realize how important prototyping and trying new things is. Um, so my plan is, and I write the dates at the bottom because I get really confused. Um, it's pretty, so so yeah, so that might help you as well. But in the next year, I will be the treasurer of my service fraternity, Alpha Phi Omega, which I'm very heavily involved in. I will also be graduating with my bachelor's degree in May. I'm going to continue working for the Career Innovation Lab this whole school year, hopefully. And then in May through June next year, I'm going to backpack Europe for 5 or 6 weeks. And then hopefully start grad school if they'll pay for it in June. And that will continue for a whole year. And then I will graduate with my MBA in entrepreneurship the following year. Hopefully still sticking with the Career Center in some capacity, maybe a part-time role, something like that. I'm hoping to go camping, travel, of course. I love nature, being outside, hiking, um, all of that. And then the following year, although hopefully I should already have them paid off, I'm going to make sure I have all my loans paid off from school, working different part-time jobs. Probably I love to have a few rather than just one. So, I mean, that's another way to think about it. Like, you don't need to have just one set career, one set job that you're going to have right now. You can try a few things. I love to. The following year, in August 2028, I will be going to Spain through a program to work and teach their English in English. And then hopefully we'll also be backpacking around the country and around the countries over there. And then finally, I will be coming back to the US that following May in 2029. And I will be spending time with my family, probably move in for a few months, save up to move to a new city. I'm hoping to get a cat. Also, throughout all of this, I'm hoping to continue my humanitarian work, service, leadership, all of that, and continue being in nature. For resources, I'm not sure why I labeled this solo. It might be because I need the grad school to be paid for if I'm gonna go. Other, but I do love this plan. I named it Aligning My Life with My Values because I'm really valuing my freedom, but also my family and doing things that I really enjoy and love to do. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I really appreciate both of you being willing to share because that can be particularly vulnerable to share plans, but there's power when you do say it out loud and share it with other people. They can, especially with people you know, they can affirm, yep, I can totally see you doing all of these things. And for both of you, knowing you as interns, I can totally see you both doing all these things. But I really appreciate your willingness to share. So, next steps, if you are part of the professional development certificate cohort for the summer of 2025, you will complete the Odyssey assignment in Canvas. And then, Ava, why don't you share some links?
So we just have some links to check out, some resources. So this is actually, we have Design Your Life, the actual program, if you want to get more into it. We also have an energy engagement worksheet if you'd like an actual worksheet. Same thing with Worldview, Workview, kind of seeing what your thoughts are on that. And then finally, we have an Odyssey Plans worksheet where you can find that I had used on my example.
And this is where, if you have not already, you'll get a chance to scan the QR code and give us your email address so that you'll get a copy of these links.
And then we have career counseling hours this summer are going to be drop-ins, Cooper Library, or virtual. These are going to be Monday and Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m. And these are just quick drop-ins, one issue to, or one topic, resume, cover letter, internships, 10 to 15 minutes. And it's really just a great starter way to get with the Career Center. We can kind of lead you from there and see where you need to go. And then we have virtual appointments as well. These are going to be 30 to 60 minutes. These are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 12, and Monday and Wednesday, 1:30 to 2:30. These are going to be, we can discuss multiple topics, as well as some bigger topics, which are going to be your personal statement, interview preparation, like mock interviews, things like that. And you can go ahead and schedule those through our website.
Yep, those appointments, you can access Clemson Job Link directly by just Googling Clemson Job Link, or you can go to career.clemson.edu and there's a link there to sign into your Clemson Job Link account to make that appointment. I will mention too that rather than saying make an appointment, it says request counseling, but that's just career counseling. So that's how you make an appointment with us. So if you didn't get a chance earlier, here's your chance now. Scan the QR code, enter your Clemson email address if you're a Clemson student. You can enter another email address if you're not, and we'll send you a copy of the presentation so you'll have the links to the additional resources. And then normally when we're recording this live, we have an opportunity for questions. Unfortunately, our recording didn't work earlier this week, so we're recording it with just the three of us now. But Ava, can you scroll down and see some of the questions that we got last time?
Yes. It looks like the only questions we had was whether Judah had used ChatGPT for her AI,
Mm,
which Judah had said she had
Yes.
used multiple. So
So
if you want to say those.
yeah, I just think that ChatGPT did a better job of creating and defining my previous pictures that I had drawn. So once again, I had actually written everything out, my plan. I had drawn the pictures myself, and I had uploaded it to ChatGPT and Claude and DeepSeek and a few other AI platforms. And ChatGPT had given me the best fit that I was going for.
And one of the
Yeah.
things that I liked about the approach that Judah took is she did the work. Like those are her ideas, but she just wanted to make it look better because she knew probably because she knew you were going to be presenting here.
Yes,
And
yes.
Judah always produces excellent top-notch work. And so then she just played around with some generative AI platforms to see which one could help her polish that work a little bit better. And we do a lot of that in the Career Innovation Lab. We are a sandbox for exploration, and we really want you to feel comfortable playing around with generative AI platforms, but also knowing which tool to choose for what job. When you get into the world of work, your employer is going to need you to be AI literate or fluent. And part of that is knowing when to choose which platform. And the only way to know that is to try them. So if you have questions about that, stop by the Career Innovation Lab. We will be opening again in the fall on Wednesday, August 27th at 1:30 p.m. in Cooper Library, Learning Lab Room 309. So it's on the third floor, room 309. When you come through the doors, you go to the right. We'll be there to greet you. But the Career Innovation Lab is student run. So you'll get to meet with peers to talk about generative AI because I know sometimes meeting with faculty or staff or your parents or talking to anybody else about generative AI can feel a little risky because people have very strong opinions about it. But we really want it to be a sandbox of learning. So we welcome the use of generative AI as long as it's ethical and it's working for you. And so we talk about that. And then, Ava, I think we had a question. One student wanted to know, which plan did you make first? So in Odyssey plans, we're asking you to do Odyssey plan 1, 2, or 3. And he asked, which one did you do first and why? And so Ava, I'll let you answer that, and then Judah will let you answer as well.
Yes. So I first did number one just because I thought it was the easiest to do. It's already I had most of the plan already together. And then I did three because I thought it was kind of fun. I think two is definitely the hardest to do because it's kind of like, okay, your one set career. What do you do if that's not possible anymore? And that's kind of harder to see. So yeah, I would say two is probably the hardest to come up with.
I have to agree as well. I did 1, 3, 2 just because my plan one, it's what I've been focusing on when I came to college. And my plan three is something that I have been thinking of since I was, a kid. And then my plan two as my backup plan. It was a lot harder, but I had to really focus on how I could make it work. So yeah, plan two was definitely harder.
Yeah. I think that's probably a common experience too. And Ava touched on this a little bit at the beginning of this workshop that in this age of generative AI, it's causing massive disruptions in the world of work. And so, one of the things that helped me formulate the idea for the Career Innovation Lab was actually doing this class in the summer of 2023 after ChatGPT launched in November of 2022. So I was an early adopter and started playing around with it and realized that it was going to be very disruptive. I didn't really know how disruptive it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be majorly disruptive to colleges, anybody in education, the world of work, and now we're really seeing that happen now. And so when they introduced this concept of 1, 2, and 3, and 2 was, if option 1 goes away, what do you do? And that really resonated with me. I was already working in the career center part-time, and I thought, for a lot of people, the job they thought they were going to do right out of college or the internship they thought they were going to get, that might go away. And not just because of ChatGPT, there could be economic changes. We had a major disruptor in 2020 called COVID, where how we thought we were going to do schooling completely changed in a 2-week time period. And so that plan too, learning to adapt when everything else falls apart is really important. But I think that can be the hardest one because we all just want to continue on the path that we're on or have a dream path and not have to think about disruptions. But we live in a world of disruptions. And so rather than letting those cause us to freeze up or run and hide, working on number 2 can really help your brain adapt to how might I adapt if everything that I thought that I knew changes? And rather than it being a terrifying thing, it's an opportunity for you to flex your muscles of I know who I am, I know what my values are, I know what gives me energy because you've done the energy mapping. And so now how do I put that into a new plan for myself? And so that's part of what we think is the power of life design thinking. This is what we do here in the Career Innovation Lab. And we hope that you will come visit us. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Ava and Judah, so much for being willing to share. And we look forward to seeing you all next time or seeing you in the lab.